Hi guys, Dr. Sai here at 420 Wolverhampton, here on Monday the 25th of July 2016 to read you an article on deep sea mining. Okay, deep sea mining is a relatively new mineral retrieval process that takes place on the ocean floor. Ocean mining sites are usually around large areas of polymetallic nodules or active and extinct hydrothermic hydrothermal hydrothermal vents, and about at 1,400 to 3,700 meters below the ocean surface. The vents create sulfide deposits which contain valuable metals such as silver, gold, copper, manganese, cobalt, and zinc. These deposits are mined using either hydraulic pumps or basket systems that take one to the surface to be processed. And with all mining operations, deep sea mining raises questions about potential environmental impact on surrounding areas. Environmental agency advocacy groups such as Greenpeace and the Deep Sea Mining Campaign have argued that seabed mining should not be permitted in most of the world's oceans because of the potential for damage to deep sea ecosystems and pollution by heavy metal laden plumes. It's not only that, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt, but if you say scrape the bottom of coral reef against the bottom of a boat, right? That coral reef will take thousands of years, maybe never, to regenerate again, and that is part of the ecosystem of the sea. That generates the oxygen, puts the oxygen into the ocean, which the all life needs oxygen, whether it breathes below the ocean's surface or whether it breathes on land. There's a small percentage of oxygen in everything, and oxygen. It needs to be water needs to be oxygenated because of the crops, obviously, and if there wasn't oxygen in water, it would be a completely different substance. Um, in the mid 1960s, proposed prospect of the deep sea mining was brought up by politicians of J.L. Metro's Minerals Research of the Sea. The book claims that nearly limitless supplies of cobalt, nickel, and other metals could be found throughout the planet's oceans. Metro stated that these minerals occurred in deposits of manganese nodules, which appear as lumps of compressed sediment on the sea floor at depths of around 5,000 meters. Some nations, including France, Germany, and the United States, sent out research vessels in search of nodule deposits. Initial evidence of deep sea mining vulnerability turned out to be much exaggerated. This overestimate, coupled with depressed and depreciating metal prices, led to the near abandonment of nodule mining by 1982. From the 1960s to 1984, an estimated US $650 million had been spent on the same venture with little or no return. It's the same as most of the other planet destroying ventures that they have, like fracking, which destroys a hell of a lot more than it produces, and it creates a hell of a lot more problems for the planet, for us, for plants, for wildlife, for soil. As I say, evaporation into the clouds, cloud formation, droplets into rain, acid in the atmosphere, falling on the crops, making the crops more acidic, and therefore limiting the potential for them to grow. And we'll be seeing more and more environmental damage if they don't, as they used to say, pull their socks up. You know, I'm only 42, but I think I'm more grown up than most of these politicians put together. Being of significant importance for the world, for world protection, growing world population pushes the need for artificial fertilizers or greater incorporation of organic systems within architectural infrastructure. I go with organic every time, because the more fertilizers we put into the earth, as I say, it has a knock-on effect. It soaks into the earth, which soaks into the water supplies, which, as well as crude oil spillages and chemical spillages and leaks from Fukushima and Nagasaki and places like that, really they're messing with the planet to an extent where as I say, the bad practices have got to stop and the good practices have got to take over. I mean, we've got friends, quite a few friends all over the earth that are doing environmental projects, which is good. We've got one starting now on oxy-degradable plastics, which the plastic breaks down between 2 months and 24 months, depending on how thick the plastic is. This is things like this is good idea for limiting, like say, you can replace the plastic bags, the current plastic bags which aren't recyclable in the supermarkets, because let's face it, most people use them once, maybe collect them in the corner, and then when they go out they use them as a poop bag for their dog if they haven't got any poop bags. So this kind of biodegradable material will come in handy, because if it's then on landfills, it will degrade with the light and the oxygen, hence the biodegradable. And it'll stop the amount of plastics going into the oceans, which is a very good idea and a very good practice to start as well, because the less packaging we can have floating about in the oceans, then it doesn't collect and as scum that washes up on beaches, you know, along with the other pollution like oil and, as I say, the industrial waste. Okay, we've got the environmental law based regulations in deep sea mining are contained in the United States Conventions on Law of the Sea from 1973 to 1982, which came into force in 1994. The convenient setup the International Seabed Authority (ISA), which regulates nations' deep-sea mining ventures outside each nation's executive economic zone, 200 nautical mile or 370-kilometre area surrounding coastal nations. The ISA requires nations interested in mining to explore 2 equal mining sites and turn one over to the ISA, along with the transfer of mining technology. Over a 10 to 20 year period. This seemed reasonable at the time because it was widely believed that module mining would be extremely profitable. However, these strict requirements led some industrialized communities to refuse to sign the initial treaty in 1982. Within the EEZ of nation states, seabed mining comes under the jurisdiction of national laws. Despite esteemed exploration both within the outside of EEZs, only a few countries, notably New Zealand, have established legal infrastructural framework for the future development of deep sea bed mining. Papua New Guinea was the first country to approve the permit for exploration of minerals in the deep seabed. Somalia was awarded a license to and environmental permits despite 3 independent reviews of environmental impact stated mine funding signified gaps and flaws in underlying science. The ISA has recently arranged a workshop in Australia whose scientific experts, industry representatives, legal specialists and academics work towards improving existing regulations and ensuring that development of seabed mine beds does not cause serious and permanent damage to the marine environment. Okay, that's all I'm going to read you because I can only make put a 15-minute video on YouTube at the moment. But really, the seabeds shouldn't be mined at all because we've got precious resources as it is, and they're ruining what resources we have got, and they're making them a lot worse. Marine life is already washing up dead on different beaches. We've got the risk with sonar, and then we've got the risk with all this pollution, and we've got the coupled risks of mining, and that's just below the earth, below the water, in the ocean, combined with the other risk factors that we've got, that we face every day with the pollution and the contaminants in the earth, and by car exhaust and tobacco smoke and things like that. But hopefully we can combat all those. Right, the end of the video. This is Dr. Sai, 420 Wolverhampton, signing out. Peace.